Look, the biggest podcast where you can learn them lessons. Line for line where you can learn from different sections. Made it out the mud, come tell your story, blessings. Never know who listening, never know who stressing. Divine gave you a voice, come speak your honest truth. Line for line, go bar for bar, it's up to you. Wanna talk sports, gov, and politics? Wanna talk about where you from and your accomplishments? The Line for Line is really where you need to be. A platform that's really made for folks like you and me. You can find it all no matter what you seek. Whether you calling or you listening, tune in every week.
All right. And just like that, we're back in another very special episode of Line for Line podcast. I'm your host, Devon Booker, the host with the most. We have a very special guest in the building. But before we introduce him, make sure you hit that like button, hit the subscribe button, leave an interactive comment from me and my guest. And just like that, we'll let him introduce himself to the world.
Hey, everybody. How you doing? I'm Deshaun Foster with BLAk Coffee, Kenosha. Man, I'm happy to be here.
Yes, sir.
Happy to be here.
Yes, sir. So a lot of people don't know, we actually grew up next door to each other.
Yeah.
What was that like, bro? That was so long ago for me. I just remember you were always older than me, too. And I'm just like, it's hard for me to remember that time because I was like so young back then, bro. Because how old would you say you were back then when we lived next door to each other?
It definitely spanned from probably when I was like 7, honestly, to about like 14, 15.
And how old are you now?
34.
Okay, because I'm only 29, so it was like you were always older. You were like around my sister's age and everything like that too. But man, that was some fun times growing up in the city of Kenosha.
Definitely.
For real, for real. What do you remember from like back then about Kenosha?
Well, especially from the north side where we lived at, I just always remembered it being like a family, even though we weren't family. Everybody was family, especially from Wilson. You know, we came up. A lot of people don't realize, man, we was the castaways. A lot of people overlooked us and didn't expect us to do stuff like what you doing, what I'm doing. So anytime you see something like that, especially from our neighborhood, man, I'm all for it.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So just tell us how you got into coffee. Like, what was it? You just woke up one day and was like, I'm going to go into the coffee business, or were you always a coffee fan? Tell us a little bit about that.
So it's crazy. When I decided to do coffee, it was actually my daughter's idea.
No way.
Yeah. Because like right before COVID started, I had got in that mind frame where I kind of wanted to bet on myself and I wanted to, do my own business. So the start of the idea was actually supposed to be a soul food breakfast place.
Okay.
Yeah. And when COVID happened, we seen so many restaurants closing, we seen restaurants struggling. And I felt like when that happened, I had to kind of like change my idea. So going to work and, I worked at a school. So, I'm bright and early in the morning. So I had to get my coffee.
You were a teacher?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
What did you teach?
I was at Goddard.
Stop playing.
Yeah.
Let's go. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I went to school to be a teacher. And
okay.
Stuff, so I worked in the KUSD, all of that.
Yeah.
So, just going every day, sometimes even after work. I always went because my daughter liked to get hot chocolate and donuts. So one day we was in the line and I'm thinking to myself like, man, I come here all the time. This is crazy. Like even when I get up to the window, they know who I am. So we in line one day and my daughter was like, Dad, we should start our own coffee shop.
What? And
I was like, man, that sounds like a plan. Like it's crazy coming from a 5-year-old, but then that's a good plan right there. So when she said that, I just started doing some research. I was still working my job, just doing research, finding out the trades, terminology, everything, just doing all the back work for everything. And then over the summer of this past year, I was getting my hair cut by Alvin. And I was like, hey, Alvin, I got this idea. I really would like to do it. I'm just trying to figure out, where do I go from here? And once I told him what it was, he was like, man, that's amazing. Like, that's a really good idea. And I'm like, so I know, like, I came up with it, but knowing my 5-year-old daughter came up with it. But so, I just told him, I was like, the only thing I'm, kind of struggling with right now is finding a place. And so when he offered up the place, I went home and I thought about it and I was like, hey, what is there to lose in this situation? I have somebody who's like been my mentor since I was literally a kid, offering me an opportunity. So I was like, man, I got to take it. I gotta take it. So, just doing some of the work, and, I wanted to wait till everything was, set. Like I said, continue to do my back work. And once December hit, right around the holidays, I'm like, I'm going to drop this on everybody. And I want to start right when I drop it off to everybody. So that's why it just came out of nowhere. But, people behind the scenes had known that I had been doing it since like July, August.
Okay. So are you a chef already, or were you always like trying to be a chef? Because I know you said you wanted to start a soul food breakfast place.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So I always knew how to cook. That was something that, my granny.
Awesome. Oh my gosh, I missed that. Man, man, those events over there was so cold, bro. Like back with like Jamal and all them too. I remember we'd go down in the basement, bro.
Most definitely.
Man, growing up was like the best times, yo. Kids don't really get that now because so many kids are just stuck at home, like on a game. Everything's just virtual now. But back then, we actually interacted with like our neighbors and stuff like that. Like
stuff was outside.
Yeah,
all day.
Man. So but just tell us a little bit about like the thought process when you were starting, because I'm pretty sure there might have been doubts, or some people may have said, "Do you think that's gonna work?" Or they maybe try to psych you out of it, whatever the case may be.
I mean, to be honest with you, I still have doubts.
No way.
Yeah, even with everything going as good as it do, I still think like, is this something that I can have longevity wise? Mm-hmm. And even though I think it is, you don't see too many people who look like us in the coffee industry. So that's like my number one doubt. Like you just don't see too many faces like us in the coffee industry. And if I'm gonna succeed, and I have a good backing and people who are in my corner who's like, hey, don't give up, keep going. But when it's just me, sometimes I do have doubts. I've had some people who I've tried to get my own place, and the first thing that they say is like, "Oh, it's so many coffee shops in Kenosha. What are you doing opening up a coffee shop?" And I'm like, I mean, it's a million McDonald's, but you see everybody still opening McDonald's. Mm-hmm. 4 or 5 Starbucks in Kenosha, you still see those Starbucks opening. And this was something that I want to do to continue my family. I put different input for my family into my coffee shop, so I consider it to be more of anything like a family coffee shop.
Yes, sir. So before we get into that part, just tell us a little bit about location and where we can find you physically and like on social media and things like that.
So physically, right now I'm at Regiment Barber Collective, Tuesday and Saturdays from 7 a.m. to 1:30 p.m. Mm-hmm. Actually, starting off the second week of May, I'll be at the Kenosha Harbor Market.
Stop playing around.
Yeah.
Stop playing.
Yeah, so I'll be there every other Saturday, pretty much the whole summer. Mm-hmm. And, so I'm definitely looking forward to that. But and also when the summer come, I'll be opening every day at the barbershop.
Stop, man. That is beautiful. Yeah. That is beautiful. And Regiment's right there on 52nd across from the Boys and Girls Club, correct?
Yes. Yeah.
So you can even get your haircut by Alvin, Ken, Bibby, D, all the amazing guys they got in there. And you can get you some coffee as well, too.
Most definitely. Some of the best coffee in Kenosha, I say.
Some of the best coffee. I actually don't drink coffee, but I still support with the lemonades and everything like that. Just tell us a little bit about the list of things that you do offer, like the items that you have on the menu and how important they are to you.
So, I have your traditional coffee items, lattes, which is probably our most popular seller. We got, just a traditional black coffee, which was how my 2 grandmothers actually drunk their coffee.
Black?
Yeah, black. Just black coffee, no cream, no sugar.
Stop playing.
Yeah. So that a lot of my menu items are actually named after my family members.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And it's just because when I think of those items, either the process or the taste or the original name of the coffee drink just brought like memories back from, some of my aunts and my uncles. As you know, we had a huge family. Man.
So, I'm sorry to cut you off. When you said family, I could never understand your granddad. Like when he would come drop the greens off to my mom or my dad, and I would answer the door, he would just be sitting there talking. I'm literally just like, what is this man saying right now? Yeah. What is this man saying right now? Yeah. How would you able to understand him? Because I would always be like,
it took a while to really, understand him.
Okay, gotcha.
my grandfather was a person of like action. So even if you couldn't, completely understand him, he had got into a medical accident, which was why he was blind and stuff like that. But I will tell you this: when my grandpa got mad, you would know. You would definitely know.
Too funny.
He would feel it too.
Yeah.
So.
But back into the menu, my bad. I had to throw that in there as well too.
You good? Yeah. Well, I mean, even with my grandfather, a lot of people, when you look at my menu, you always wonder like, where does he come in? And it's like he had his niche in pretty much everything. Even his garden, a lot of people didn't understand that garden, man, that fed our family.
That man used to come next door with the bucket with the greens and vegetables in there. Yeah. I was like, this guy, man, it plugged us.
Yeah,
for real.
Kept everybody eating. Our next door, the other next door neighbor,
Antoine, was it right? Was it his name?
Oh man, I can't even remember.
I'm pretty sure it was like the White House, right?
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure that was Antoine that lived there. I forgot his mom and dad's name. That was so long ago, but yeah.
And it's each item just reminds me of a family member. Like I say, either the name or the process of it. And then my grandfather and my granny taught a lot of us how to cook and how to bake as well. So when it came to the baked goods, I took each of my aunts or any of my cousins, one of their best desserts, and I wanted to implement that into the menu as far as them. So, when you think of like a Tenuda's who's been running for a while, not only do they serve alcohol, they serve other stuff that has been family traditions for a long time. I want my coffee shop to be like that, where, we serve coffee, but then we have other items that my family have been known for years. So that the family is like a huge part when it comes to that.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Do you have a menu item named after your daughter?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah.
What you got named after her?
It's a hot chocolate recipe that she actually came up with.
Stop playing.
Yeah.
How is it that we work out some type of special where it's like, it's a line for line special. Like they say line for line and they get a certain little item. Like, what is it that we can buy in, or what is it that line for line needs to do to get something on the menu?
So, I mean,
like a theme or something.
I mean, that's tough.
Maybe some cookies shaped like a microphone or something like that.
Yeah, we can do something like that. We can come up with something.
Line for line just expanding out here in these streets.
We can come up with something. I might have something where I over the summer where I introduce to people where you can customize your lemonade drinks, where you can make different colors and stuff like that. So maybe one with your logo colors, I'll make a drink that's your logo colors.
Man, it's blessing us, blessing us. As we get ready to close out this phenomenal episode, what would be that piece of advice that you would give to the fellow entrepreneur that wants to get started, even if his industry may be a little bit oversaturated?
Yeah. Man, go for it. Go for it. Like literally, as crazy as that sounds, as cliche as that sounds, go for it. Because, too many times in life, just in general, people put their dreams aside to fulfill someone else's dream, which is technically the definition of going to work. And too many times you see people go 30, 40 years working at a job and then you retire. Even though you have money and you have time, did you fulfill your dream? And a dream just necessarily shouldn't be, hey, I got money to provide for my family. Your dream should be something that you enjoy doing when you wake up every day. You love going there, not just because you're making money, not just because you're providing for your family, because you generally love it. And if you were to go and stop 10 random people on the street and you ask them if they have a business idea, about 8 or 9 of those people are going right at the drop of a hat. Yeah, I have this. And you ask them the question, well, why aren't you doing it? And a lot of them are going to say, well, I have a job, I have a kid, I have this, I don't have time. And it's like, those are all excuses to block you from living your dream. And if your dream is something that you seek out, you can't put that aside for someone else's.
That makes sense. But how is it that you deal with like the doubters or something like that? Like, why are you starting coffee for? We already got Starbucks over there. Like, or don't do that. Like, how is it that you get past that?
I get past it by honestly just having thick skin. Having thick skin. I honestly don't listen to outsiders. Outsiders are never gonna stop me from doing what I want to do.
And take this advice, listeners on YouTube. Yeah. I'm taking this advice from him.
Yeah, you can't never let nobody, put doubt in your mind. I told another interviewer a couple of days ago, you have to be your biggest fan. You have to be your number one fan. Yeah.
That's crazy that you said that, because I'll be riding around bumping my theme song, even though I heard it like a million times. But I was like, I got to be my biggest fan. I got to go hard for me. You know what I'm saying? Other people may not want to hear it, but I got to keep it going. You know. So,
and it's crazy because people say like, man, your daughter is your number one fan, and it's possibly true. But as far as the business go for myself, I want to be my number one fan, because when it falls down, the chips all fall down. I have to be the one who picks it back up. Mm-hmm. My daughter don't understand how to pick it back up. So even though she's rooting for me, she don't see me at home going through, man, am I gonna make it? You know, she don't see that. All she sees is the good. So I see the bad and the good. So I gotta push myself to overcome that bad.
Yes, sir. Is there anyone out there that you'd like to give a shout out to that may have helped you along the way, gave you some advice, anything like that?
Oh, man, it's so many people, man. It's so many people. I'll just start off by honestly saying people in our community when we grew up, Boys and Girls Club, Wilson people, even some people's parents, that just looked out for us when our parents weren't around. But yeah, I definitely have to shout out Mr. Owens, both of them.
Alvin and Arlen.
Yeah, definitely.
Both those have been like prevalent people in my life since I was a shorty. Starting with Arlen, making sure he comes to my class and say, "Man, you good? Make sure you focus." Just sitting there with me, giving me that extra sense of confidence. Like, I got Mr. Owens in here with me right now. Let me make sure I'm like leading the class, leading by example, and showing people that I'm worthy to have someone like that come in there and invest time and energy into me, And then back to Alvin, letting me use the shop, like recording several episodes, you know what I'm saying? Just wanting me to succeed as a business owner and wanting my podcast to be productive. I'm forever in favor to Alvin, seriously. They've been nothing but pristine individuals to me in my life since I was a kid, so I'm very thankful for them as well, too.
And it's the same thing for me, man. I mean, Mr. Owens took me on my first ever road trip.
For real?
I had never been outside of Wisconsin before.
Stop playing.
No, I had never been outside of Wisconsin up until Mr. Owens took us on the college tour.
Oh, wow.
And we went to New York, North Carolina, and ATL.
Oh, wow.
I had never been outside of Wisconsin.
Those Owens, they need a round of applause, seriously. That being said, ladies and gentlemen, we just wrapped up an amazing, heartfelt episode of Line for Line Podcast. We appreciate you for having some time for us, sir.
Appreciate y'all, man.